Hi, I'm Teresa and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about some of the most intimidating books on my TBR. And I just want to start this video by apologising for the lighting. I think it's going to be quite dark. I do have an extra light on, so hopefully that helps. We'll see. But yeah, today I just wanted to make a video talk about some of the books that are on my TBR that intimidate me, because since I've been working on trying to get through my TBR, I find myself avoiding quite a few books just because I'm scared of them, so I thought I'd talk a bit about them, and hopefully making this video will kind of help me work through my fear. And if you've read and loved any of these books, please feel free to let me know in the comments. I can take all the motivation I need to get through these. The first book I have got is All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. So for this video and the reasons I don't want to read books, there's two common themes that run through most of these books. And the first of these is that it is sad and I'm scared. So this book takes place during World War II in Nazi-occupied France, and you follow a blind girl who's trying to navigate this world, and you also follow a boy in Germany who ends up being taken in by the Hitler Youth. And I honestly do not know much about this. I will not lie. When I bought this, when I saw it in the shop, I thought it was We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson because they have quite similar covers, and I didn't really know what that one was about, just that a lot of people on Bookstagram had enjoyed it, thought it might be queer. But yeah, I thought that was this. It is not this, and now I'm just like, what do I do with this? But it is one I want to read. I am interested in historical fiction and by the plot in this book, but I am scared because I feel like it could be quite sad. And I also feel like with sad books, it's quite common for them to be quite slow, quite dense. And that's not all the time. Like, I was surprised by Who I Was With Her by Nita Tyndall because it was not like that. And it's very possible some of these won't be, but I just have this idea in my head about them and it's so difficult to work through, and it just makes me intimidated by them. The next book we've got is The Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. And this is where we meet the other common theme running through these books, and that is adult fantasy. So this is the first in a series by quite a famous author, Robin Hobb. So this is originally published in 1995, so it is a bit older than the books I typically read, and I struggle with reading older books and with reading adult books sometimes just because of the writing being quite dense and difficult, and I just genuinely prefer YA. And so I've got that worry with this, as well as it being fantasy and me not really being in the mood for fantasy that much recently. I feel like that just means I'd enjoy it less, and I don't want to enjoy it less. I do want to give it a full chance, and I feel like I can't do that when I'm not in this fantasy mood. I did read the first chapter of this for my try a chapter vlog way back at the start of my channel, and I did enjoy it, so I do think I will read it one day. I'm just a bit intimidated by it and I really don't know when I will. This is the first in, like, I think a trilogy, and then this spans on to more and more books in this world as far as I'm aware. So like imagine it as the Shadowhunter Chronicles, but a couple of years older in the high fantasy world in terms of the volume of books, and that many series and books is very intimidating to me. But you know what? I will eventually be giving this a go, hopefully. The third book I've got is The Miseducation of Cameron Post by Emily M. Danforth. This book is one I really, really, really want to read, but I'm very intimidated by because it is one of the more famous sapphic books, and I know that it is also going to be quite hard-hitting. It deals with conversion therapy. So this one, the intimidation really just comes from me wanting to like it so, so, so much. Honestly, I think I will, but it's still that fear that I won't, and also knowing that it deals with quite hard-hitting subjects and that it might have quite an emotional impact on me, and not being sure if I'm quite ready for that. But yes, this is one I am dying to read. I really hope to read it quite soon, especially since I'll be reading the author's new book, Plain Bad Heroine, sometime soon, hopefully. And I'd also just like to take this moment to admire the sprayed edges. It's so bonny. I do love this edition so much. The fourth book we've got is The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. So my reasons for being scared of this one is very, very similar to the first book, All the Light We Cannot See, in that I know that it is quite sad, and I'm not sure I'm ready for that emotionally, and I know this deals, again, quite hard-hitting subjects. So this is also set during World War II, but in Nazi Germany, following a young girl, from the point of view of death, I'm pretty sure, and she's stealing books, and so I have to call the book thief. And I really want to read this, I really want to watch the film, and it's just one that's so well loved that I'm scared that I won't like it. Once again, you're seeing a recurring theme here, right? These books, they're so intimidating, a lot of them just because I want to like them, and I'm scared I won't. But the only way I can know is if I just hurry up and read it. So maybe I should do some kind of video dedicated to reading intimidating books, like a vlog. Would you like that? Like, let me know in the comments if you would, because that might be the motivation I need to read some of these. The next book we've got is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. So, back to what I was saying about popular books and just wanting to like them so bad. This is what we're doing here. I've not yet read from Victoria or V.E. Schwab, but she's obviously so well loved by the book community. I really want to love her books. And this series in particular is one of her more famous ones, and it sounds amazing. So many of her books sound amazing. I want to read them so bad. I'm just intimidated. Again, it comes back to the fact that I've not been reading much fantasy recently, and I really want to be at the point where I will read it and really enjoy it and love it as much as I know I would have a couple years ago when all I read was fantasy. I really want to get back to that and read more fantasy, so maybe this could start that journey, but I am feared that if I read it... Oh wait, that's Doric. Feared just means scared, okay? So I'm feared that if I read it, I won't like it and that'll put me further off fantasy, if that makes sense. But I really do want to read it. The next book we've got is The Wicker King by Kate Ancrum. This one's a bit more unique in my reasons for not wanting to read it, and that is that I think I might be too dumb. Honestly, I feel like from the description of this book, it sounds like it's going to be an absolute mindfuck, and I do not think I am smart enough to understand it. That is my completely honest opinion. It sounds incredible. It's one I'm very excited for, but I feel like I'm going to be too dumb for it and I'm not going to understand it. So this follows two boys and they've got this really close, really intense friendship. And one of them, he starts having these incredibly vivid visions, and this brings both of the boys into this like fantasy world. I think it's like layered on top of our own. And this is where I worry about being too dumb and separating vision from reality, what's real and what's not. And I know that's very much the point of the book, but I like to know these things, and I worry that if I don't, it'll just lead to me being confused and not enjoying it, even though I know that it's intentional, if that makes any sense. So yeah, there's another one I really want to love, and I'm scared I won't because I might be too dumb for it. But oh, I want to read it so bad. I need to just, what I need to do with all of these books, I need to just bite the bullet and read them. Because I know that a lot of these I'm probably going to adore, but I'm just scared for no reason. I've just hyped them up as being this intimidating thing in my head, so now I can't read them. Next up we've got Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J Maas. So my reason for being intimidated by this is because I was a huge Sarah J Maas fan. Honestly, her books were some of my absolute favourites, and I kind of want to reread them and bring back the joy I felt reading them. I've not felt that connected to a long-lasting series, to a fantasy in so long, and I want this to be that, but I'm scared it's not, so I've been putting off reading it. So this is her new adult series. I honestly don't know too much about it. I know that it takes place in a city, it's quite dark, you're following this kind of murder mystery story, and I'm very intrigued by it. I think it sounds very good, something I'd very much enjoy, but I'm worried I won't like it as much as I want to. I want to enjoy this book an awful lot and reconnect with loving fantasy and just, in general, loving and getting just completely consumed by a series and by a book. So I haven't found that as much, even though I've been enjoying so much of what I've been reading recently, so many new favourites. I've not been so just consumed by the world. And the final book from my own TBR, we have got The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. And this one, so much of what I'm saying is going to be a repetition of the others, but it's fantasy, it's adult, these intimidate me for reasons that we know. And again, it's really well loved, really hyped, and I want to love it too. So this follows a main character called Zachary, and he finds this book in the library. It's very, it grips and it's very intriguing. And then he discovers in the book his own childhood memory, and he's trying to solve a mystery of this, and it takes him on this kind of fantastical adventure. And I know there's a lot to do with books and libraries. I'm really interested to read that. Additionally, I think Zachary's gay, and I obviously enjoy reading that. And also, this is the same author as The Night Circus, which I did really enjoy, and I want to love this one as well. I found The Night Circus, it did take me a bit to get into, but I did very much enjoy it once I did, so I'm very much hoping that this is similar. And it's just gorgeous. I just I just want to love it so I can have a reason to admire it. So yes, very much want to read this, but also very intimidated. And it's also one that I want to read not during the semester because I want to give it my full attention, because I feel like it will need my full attention, and that goes for a few of these. So then I just kind of write off the entire semester's reading time, which leaves me winter break and summer. But obviously I didn't read it during summer, even though I had plenty of time with lockdown. And I don't know if I'm going to read it over winter because I've got other stuff I want to read over winter. It's not fitting. I'm just going to need to bite the bullet and pick it up as well as all the others. And just to finish off, I want to talk about a couple of books that I don't actually yet own, but that intimidate me a lot. And the first one is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, or the entire series really, with the publication of The Burning God, the final book in the trilogy, just this past month. So many people have been reading it and loving it, and it's just giving me so much FOMO because I also want to read and love it, but I am absolutely terrified. So The Poppy War is adult fantasy, so again we've got the same reasons I've mentioned before, and I know that it is quite hard hitting and intense, and again, tense emotional reactions. Am I emotionally prepared? No. Will I ever be? Probably not. Should probably just pick it up. Once again, and another thing that's coming up a lot, it's very well loved, and I really want to love it as well. It sounds so good. And again, I'm not in the mood for fantasy, and I don't want that mood to ruin my experience of reading the book. And I'm scared that it would if I were to pick it up right now. But it is, regardless, one I very much want to read, one I'm very excited to read. I'm also very excited by the TV show announcement. That sounds like it could be incredible. And yeah, so The Poppy War, it is high fantasy, and it's very much based around the recent history of China and the absolute brutality that has happened there recently. A lot to do with colonialism and the Western powers, and I find that very interesting to read, and just from a historical perspective. So I'm really interested to see how the author has just combined this all into this lovely fantasy series. Lovely. It's like full of death, but lovely. So this brings us on to our final book, and that is Not My Problem by Kira Smith. So this is simultaneously my most anticipated book of 2021 and the most intimidating book of 2021. And that is because I just want to love it so much. I really don't know what I'd do with myself if I don't. So this is written by the same author as The Falling in Love montage, which we all know that I adore with everything in me. And I want to love Kira's new book so much. I really think I will, but I'm just stressing over nothing, which is not unusual for me. I want to love it so bad. The thought of not loving it is just, it's scary. I don't know what to do. So yeah, so this is going to be another lesbian rom-com. It's going to be fantastic. I think it's set during high school. It's going to be so good. I cannot wait. I'm scared. And yes, that brings us to the end of the video. I hope that you've enjoyed. If you've read and loved any of these, let me know in the comments. Just encourage me to read them. And let me know what books intimidate you. And yes, you can also find my social media in the description if you want to keep up with me elsewhere, and you can leave a like, a comment, subscribe if you haven't. and it really helps out, it really means the world. And yeah, thank you very, very much for watching, and I will see you with another video soon.